In the heart of one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the country, where sprawling mansions almost seemed to touch the sky, stood the lavish estate of Veronica Langston. Picture marble columns, immense chandeliers twinkling with opulence, and gardens where even the roses seemed to flaunt their beauty as if trying to outshine one another. It was a world of affluence that felt foreign, especially to Mateo, a 13-year-old boy who walked through the tall iron gates wearing scuffed sneakers clutching his mother's hand. She was there to clean while he felt more like a ghost, just a whisper of presence, amid the laughter and chatter of adults discussing high-stakes investments. As they entered the grand foyer, Mateo could feel the judgmental gaze of Veronica Langston sweep over him. It was a look that seemed to shout, "Who brought the help?" Mateo instinctively stood a little taller, trying to merge with the shadows, but he could still hear her voice so sharp and condescending, slicing through the jovial atmosphere. "Isn't it adorable how the staff brings their kids?" she'd said, waving him off as mere decoration at the edges of a gathering of elite business minds. For most of the evening, he was nearly invisible, tucked away, while the adults debated stock portfolios and investment strategies, with Mateo feeling his own thoughts race like a runaway train. His mother, always juggling obligations and suppressing her exhaustion, would steal quick glances at him, silently pleading for him to stay out of trouble. But to everyone's shock, Veronica had an agenda, and her eyes lit up with an idea. She handed Mateo a contract, her smile almost saccharine, sniffing opportunity. "Can you help translate this?" "It's all in Japanese," she asked, the inflection of her voice oozing with the confidence of someone used to having people cater to her whims. Mateo felt a spark of rebellion ignite within him, a chance to step out from the shadows. He leaned in carefully, reading the surface words on the page, and then looked up, determination brewing in his chest. "Sure, but I want $30 for my time and an apology for my mom," he declared, catching everyone off guard, including Veronica. A hush fell over the room, as if time had paused just to capture the audacity of a kid craving some respect. "Oh, really?" Veronica chuckled, her initial amusement barely disguising her disbelief. Yet Mateo wasn't backing down. "It's not right how you treat her," he said, pointing to his mom, who stood frozen, a mixture of pride and surprise flashing across her face. "I'm not just a help kid. I can help you, but it's going to cost you." That night, as they lay in bed, Mateo shared his secret with his mother. He'd been learning Japanese from online tutorials, a little escape from their everyday life. She cradled him close, disbelief melting into admiration. Soon after, excited and nervous all at once, he approached Mr. Sito, a quirky old neighbor who had once lived in Japan. He figured every bit of help mattered. "You know this contract, it's a scam," Sito muttered, his usual jovial tone replaced by something more serious. "You could get in real trouble with what this thing is hiding." What they uncovered had sent chills down Mateo's spine, a network of shell companies disguising huge sums of laundered money. It felt unreal, a story that shouldn't be happening in his world, yet there it was, vividly outlined in front of him. Armed with this knowledge, a fire ignited in Mateo's gut, propelling him to confront Veronica directly. A plan formed in his mind, bold and reckless, but thrilling. He'd take a camera crew with him, catch her off guard, and shine a light on her deceit. When the day arrived, the Langston estate appeared even more opulent, but Mateo walked through the gates with purpose, shoulders squared, heart racing. The camera crew blinked in surprise at the sheer size of the mansion. What could a kid possibly do here? But Mateo felt wrapped in confidence, ready to expose the truth. As he stepped into the lavish parlor, Veronica sat perched on her plush sofa, looking every bit the diva she'd always been, sipping her champagne when she saw him approach. "Oh dear, what is this? A little tour guide moment," she sneered, before her smirk faltered as the camera crew fanned out behind him. "Not quite," Mateo replied, his voice steady, though adrenaline coursed through him. "I'm here to talk about what you're doing, these contracts, these shell companies. It's all a facade for money laundering." Veronica's laughter echoed rich and derisive, but as Mateo laid out the evidence, it was like watching a balloon deflate. The humor faded from her face, replaced with apprehension that deepened into panic as she realized the implications of his claims. The atmosphere shifted palpably, like when storm clouds gather before the rain. "You're a foolish little boy," she spat, but there was no disguise left. The stakes were real, and everyone could see that. The media caught wind, framing Mateo not just as a kid blowing the whistle, but as a national hero in the making, standing up against corruption, with nothing but his guts and a mountain of evidence. The authorities moved swiftly, and suddenly, Veronica wasn't surrounded by admirers anymore. She was facing the prospect of legal reckoning. As the dust settled, Mateo's life took a turn. He pushed through school, going on to pursue a dual master's degree in fraud auditing, becoming an unexpected authority in a field he'd entered not by choice but by necessity. His mother found her voice. She expanded her business not as a maid, but as an entrepreneur, finally stepping out of the shadows and embracing her potential. Meanwhile, Veronica's life transformed too, but not in the way she'd hoped. Emptied of her luxuries, she lived under scrutiny, her trial looming like an ominous cloud. Mateo often pondered the whirlwind that had turned his world upside down, the sting of being underestimated, the power that came with truth, and how one boy's courage had created a ripple effect that changed lives. And so as we reflect on this journey, I want to ask you, what have you experienced that made you rise up against injustice? Have you ever felt like you were underestimated only to prove someone wrong? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's talk about the nuances of right and wrong and the strength that comes from standing up for truth. Because in a world that often turns a blind eye, your voice matters.